Hey y'all, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Right now, it is the evening here in China. At one point in your life, you most likely will probably encounter a person who is not the best for you as a friend. You know, sometimes we go through life thinking like certain things are not going to happen to us just because they haven't yet, right? But the longer you live life, like there's going to be at least like one life-altering thing that will happen to you. Okay. It's just like, you know, sometimes we think like if it's maybe a situation we think like can be avoidable, we think, oh, that would never be me, and then maybe it's something like that similar happens, or even like a death of a loved one. Like there's certain things that will like change how we perceive things, or like the who we are before this thing happened. It's like we can't go back to who we were before that, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just saying like how we definitely grow and evolve over time. Okay, so with all that said, toxic friendships, right? I have experienced many. I've had friendships, but I have actually experienced like where I can say multiple friendships that were actually toxic. Okay, now with being younger, sometimes you don't always recognize it and you think like, oh, this is fine, this is how, you know, no one's perfect. Or sometimes you're just so used to it because you think it's the norm. And sometimes how people treat us can be a reflection of like how we feel about ourselves, but not, I would go deeper than that. I would think even just how maybe we were raised and what we saw, and we think like certain things are the norm when it's like, no, that's not cool, nada. So yeah, I just wanted to say like it's never okay to just feel like you need to be in a situation just because you've known somebody for a very long time, or maybe you're in a group of friends and you're the only person who maybe is seeing what's happening and the other people are just not seeing it, or maybe it's not being done to them, or maybe it is and they're just like chill. But people don't really talk about that. Sometimes people think like, oh yeah, you can just cut them off, like you need to cut it. Like it's really easier said than done because there are a lot of factors that go into play. It's not just this isolated thing. Like our friendship is like an isolated thing. Sometimes there's like, you know, there's things involved, like whether it's like that person's family, other friends we have in common, like, you know, just different things. So it's not just, again, something, and that kind of annoys me when people really try to like just undermine like a real situation and think like, oh, well, you just need to do this. But it's like, again, easier said than done, right? The fact that we can get out of relationships, romantic relationships, like we tell people like you need to get out of this, or you know, like I don't deserve this. But the same thing with friendships. If they're not serving you, you know, or driving you, or just making you like, you know, be yourself or a better person, like you just need to re-examine those things. Maybe do some inflection, you know, see what you bring to the table as well, you know. But if you know you're a good friend, you've had a track record of just, you know, positive things that you feel like you're doing, you're you know, trying to grow this friendship, serve it, you know, look, you just need to see, are you getting the same thing back as a result? I'm gonna touch on another point because I was thinking about something where I was watching the Tyler Perry it was a play. It was one of the plays that was turned into like a movie, like it was, you know, a DVD, right? And he has like this very famous monologue that he goes through as Medea, and he at one point, his character was like, what did he say? I'm paraphrasing, like, you know, I never just cut off any people. I usually tell people like what they did, like, you know, I just never just cut them off and they don't know why. Like I always explain why I cut them off, or, you know, again, cut them off or stop talking to them. But if they don't change anything, then that's like, okay, you know, we're done. So I was like, okay, that's a good point. However, I do want to say from my experience, there are times where even an explanation is not always necessarily needed in that situation. Not every situation, but every situation. Sometimes just walking away is the best decision, the best thing you can do. I'm not gonna go into like all the reasons why, but you have to use your judgment and know what things are appropriate. And usually people don't do that anyway, just walk away with no explanation. Usually there's been multiple conversations had, there's been, with discussions at some point. So I feel like very rarely do people just like, oh, this person just stopped talking to me and I don't know why. I'm pretty sure maybe you just didn't open up your eyes to why. Because some people are like, choose not to see what they do either. And you can tell somebody like 500 times, but if they're just like not wanting to accept it, like that's not your problem. That's not up for me to like, and I think I said this before, like it's not up for me to be your teacher on how to have like human decency or like how to treat people. Like again, we're talking about grown adults. Like at a certain age, there has to be accountability on my part and your part, right? But like we're not in elementary school where it's like, okay, say sorry and say I am sorry for. Do you remember like when teachers, I don't know, there were certain teachers that would be like, oh, sorry, and then it'll be like, no, say what are you sorry for? Like, okay, this is not elementary school, right? We're talking about grown adults who are capable, mentally capable to do that, right? Ownership. So you just have to see like what works for you, you know what I mean? Everybody has different demands in friendships, and that's the same thing with relationships. Like, I mean, maybe not to the same extent, but so when relationships like marriage, I guess you could say, but you should definitely have standards for friendships. And I'm saying like, and let me go back. I don't mean like they're two different things, but they're definitely two important things. Okay. Two important things: friendships, relationships, right? Romantic relationships. But yeah, friendships, cause that can really affect you. It really can. And broken friendships can hurt just like a romantic relationship, in my opinion. Just saying, there comes a point where, again, the older you get, I think the more you just realize like you don't have to put up with certain things, and it's okay. Like you don't, like, I think when you're a child and you have sometimes like, you still have like a childlike mentality or like a very enthusiastic mentality, even as a young adult, and you think sometimes like it's okay that this is, like you see it happening, like you're aware something is happening, or even just your intuition, your body's telling you something's not right. And you just have to listen to that, and you don't have to put yourself through that, because it can be very traumatic, and I've been through some traumatic so-called friendships. Yeah, do the best thing for you, and it's hard, but once you get out of it, you look at it again from the outside and just reflect, and you're like, did I really really sit through that, and I let that happen? Also, I want to say, forgive yourself for not knowing what you know now. Forgive yourself if you feel like I should have did something earlier, or I should have treated myself better earlier. Forgive yourself. Again, some of these things come with like just experience, and it's really true. Like sometimes we think we know everything when we're younger, and I don't mean like know everything like that. Obviously we know we don't know everything, because there's certain things you don't experience until you're older, but sometimes you think like, oh, I got this, I understand how the world works, and it's like, no, you don't. Do any of us really get 100%? Like all of us are still learning each day. Life is a learning lesson. You're never gonna like just know everything at the top of your head. It's always lessons to be learned. So I will just end it like that, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Bye.